Hey, my name is Andy, and this is Andy Taught Me How. Today we're going to talk about UTM tracking, and we're going to make it simple. So let's get started, okay? UTMs are not complicated. They're just regular links with labels added to the end. The goal for this lesson is to help learners, help you, help me, help us understand where traffic comes from and why that matters before we teach form fields and tracking setup. Are you ready? Let's get started. What is a UTM? UTM stands for the Urchin Tracking Module. It refers to snippet codes added to a URL to help digital marketers track exactly where website traffic comes from. It's actually from the Urchin, whatever they were, group was bought out by Google, and this was probably the best known predecessor for Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics. All right, so let's say that we shared the website builder toolkit link in 5 places. Traffic came in, but without tracking, we cannot easily tell which source worked. This sets up the reason for UTMs before defining them. Let's continue. UTM links can include 5 standard parameters. 3 are the core parameters that we should use every time. UTM source, UTM medium, and UTM campaign. 2 additional parameters, UTM term and UTM content, are optional. They can be helpful when you need more detail, especially for paid ads, keyword tracking, or testing multiple links. For this video, we're going to keep it simple and focus on the 3 required parameters: where the visitor came from, how they got there, and why I shared or you shared the link. So here we go. This is a normal link. You've seen it before, you've seen it before. This is a UTM link. You've probably seen these without knowing exactly how they worked. So we have our normal link, https://andytaughtmehow.com/toolkit. By the way, this page isn't there yet. We're building it as part of our 5-page website series. It may be by the time you see this video. All right, but we're going to talk about the UTM part of this link, which starts after the question mark operator. UTM_source, in this case, equals YouTube. Then we're going to do the and, which means we're going to add more parameters. The UTM medium, UTM_medium equals video_description. We'll talk about all these in just a minute. Hold on. Another and then UTM_campaign is the ATMH_toolkit. The page is the same. The tracking label is different. We can get to the page this way. We can also get to the same exact page this way. All right. So the 3 fields that everybody needs, these are the core fields that we were talking about. The source is where, the medium is how, and the campaign is why. Our UTM source means where did they come from. They could be YouTube, Facebook, email, a QR code, a flyer on a bulletin board. UTM medium, how did the link appear? Whether it was in the video description or on a social post or on a button or a QR code like we talked about. The UTM campaign, why was this link shared? It could be whatever it is that you are building a campaign for marketing your platform. In our case, it could be ATMH Toolkit or the Builder Notes. This is the simple formula that you need to remember. Where plus how plus why. All right, so here we go. Let's look at it in depth, in detail. We have our link, andytaughtmehow.com/toolkit. We have our question mark operator. Then the source is YouTube. This visitor came from YouTube. The medium is the video description. They clicked a link in a video description. And then finally, the campaign is the ATMH_builder notes. And this link belonged to the builder notes campaign. By the way, important for you to remember these things. If you have titled your email campaign in your automations, whatever it may be, it should probably match this. Good things to remember. Plain English, someone clicked in from YouTube in a video description because of the Builder Notes promotion. Let's keep going. So analytics tools treat small differences as different values. So we want to avoid a mixed case Facebook or a lowercase Facebook or capital FB or lower FB and standardize on the full word Facebook. Don't worry about typing too much. You can always copy paste. Excuse me. The rule of thumb, we're going to use lowercase. We're going to use underscores instead of spaces, clear campaign names, and we're going to reuse names exactly. In other words, pick a style and stick with it. So here are some examples of what we would use on the Andy Taught Me How website. In the case, it's in the YouTube description. It would be UTM underscore source is YouTube, and the medium is video description. If it were a Facebook post, the source would be Facebook, the medium would be a social post. This could also be a reel, just so you know. In the BSP community, the BizStackPro community, the source could be BSP community, and the UTM would be a community post. Or this could be a comment to someone else's post. All right, if it's an email button, the source could be email. The medium could be email button. However, if we use a text link in an email message instead of a button, then the source should be email underscore text underscore link. Finally, if it's a QR code, the source is going to be QR code, and the medium is going to be print or screen, or we could be a little bit more specific where we would put that QR code. For example, I know a lady who puts a QR code on her t-shirt, and when she's out doing things at specific places, people can snap that QR code and get to her website, and she's tracking them because of this type of information. Campaign names may include the ATMH Toolkit, the Builder Notes, Session 5 Replay, or BizStackPro Intro. It could be whatever campaign that you're going to send them once they click on the form submission button. All right, so we're going to make this practical. Let's look at it. If we create a UTM link, we're going to share it in a post, email, or video. The visitor clicks it, and then we can see the analytics and form capture clues. Finally, we will learn what worked. The goal is not more data. The goal is better decisions. Now let's talk about those decisions. If you spend time and effort and maybe some money on a campaign, and you do it on your own, let's say you just do it on your 4 or 5 social channels, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, maybe Twitter, X. So you send out a campaign, excuse me, and then you get leads that start coming into your website, and they submit a form to download your lead magnet, whatever it may be. And then you track them because you know what the source was by using the UTM underscore source parameter in the URL that they clicked on. That's good information to know. The lead came, you may have more leads coming from Facebook. That kind of tells you that you could spend more time, effort, and money on Facebook than you do the other channels because it's working. Good things to know. Let's keep going. All right, so we are looking at a form that we're actually going to build for real here in just a few minutes in BizStackPro, which is also GoHighLevel, but a souped up version. So we have the toolkit form. We are using already, we're going to edit a form that contains a first name field and an email field. The email field is a required field. We're going to add 3 fields to it, UTM underscore source, UTM underscore medium, and UTM underscore campaign. We are going to make those fields hidden so the user won't even see them. They're just going to fill out the email and the first name, but because we're using the right parameters in the URL, those fields will be auto-populated by our wonderful BizStackPro GoHighLevel. So let's keep going. This is our lab. It's not optional. We're about to do it. We're going to add UTM fields to a form. Open your form in BizStackPro or GoHighLevel, add the custom fields, place them on the form as hidden fields, and then BizStackPro will automatically populate the fields based on the URL parameters, and then we're going to test it. So hold on just a second. Let me switch to this one. Back up a slide. We're going to switch to bring in BizStackPro right here. I am in my BizStackPro account, and you already know where we are. Let's go to Sites. We're going to go to Forms, and then we're going to click on the ATMH folder, and then we are going to edit the ATMH Keep Me Notified form. This form will appear as a pop-up when somebody clicks Keep Me Notified on the ATMH or AndyTaughtMeHow.com page. So we're going to grab a single line text box and we're going to drag it to between the email and the button. All right. Now we are going to go ahead and we don't need the label because it is going to be a hidden field, but I'm just trying to make everything easy for me to look at later on. All right, we have UTM underscore source. We're going to place that in the placeholder because that label is going to disappear in a few minutes. And here's the important part. It needs to be your query key. All right, we're going to do it again. A single line form. This one is going to be called UTM underscore medium. And we're going to paste that as our placeholder. And we're going to place that as our query key. And we're going to make it hidden. Oh, I forgot to do that. Let's go back to this one. It needs to be hidden. All right, and we're going to add one more. This is our last one for today. It's going to be called UTM underscore campaign. We're going to select it, copy, select all, copy, and then we're going to give that to our placeholder. And you're going to ask, Andy, why are you putting that in a placeholder when the only thing is a query key is where it's really needed? Here's why. As soon as I make this hidden, I can see that it's in there. If I didn't, it would just say enter your text or whatever it was going to say. That's why I put those in the place of the placeholder. All right, our form is complete. We're going to save it. Now let's go test it. Now remember, we're going to need to use these parameters in the URL. So let's preview this form. You notice that we only have the first name and the email fields because we made the other ones hidden. So let's go back and add our parameters. There's already a question mark operator right there. We don't need to mess with that. Let's use the and sign, and we're going to add these other ones. UTM source is YouTube. UTM medium is video description. And finally, the UTM campaign is test. Now, as soon as we hit enter, that's going to refill the form for us, reload the form, and it will automatically populate these fields, believe it or not. And I'm going to prove it to you right now. We're going to use ATMH because I don't have this contact in here yet, and it's going to be Andy at Andy Taught. Oh my goodness. There we go. AndyTaughtMeHow.com. By the way, if you need to get in touch with me, send an email to Andy at AndyTaughtMeHow.com. And we're going to say, keep me notified. Now, I'm letting you know now that this would default to go to the contact thank you page, but because I don't have that one built yet, it's just going to my 404. That's okay. We're going back to our form field and we're going to look at the submissions. Now look at here. We have Andy Taught Me How, and look, we have data. Excuse me. We have data that says the UTM source is YouTube, the UTM medium is the video description, and the UTM campaign is test. That's what we need to see. Now, all of that was populated because up here at the top, back here, we have the UTM source is YouTube, the UTM medium is video description, and the UTM campaign is test. That proves that this works. That's incredible. Let's go back to our slideshow. All right, we just did our lab. We did all of the things. We submitted a test link and confirmed that the contact record captured the values. That was important to know because it works, right? All right, so here's some common mistakes that we're going to avoid because I'm teaching you now that you want to avoid them. We're going to avoid inconsistent names. We're always going to use words. They're going to be lowercase, and if there are spaces, we're going to put underscores in them. We are also going to make sure that we test. We're not going to make the mistake of not testing. We're not going to make the mistake of vague campaign names. In fact, I've already told you that you might want to consider using the campaign name that you're using in your email or your automations in this same thing. That way you tie the two together. And finally, we're going to track everything that there is that we can find out about a lead to make sure we know where to spend our time, energy, and money later on. Good UTM tracking is simple, consistent, and tested. All right, most important thing today is remember the formula: where, how, and why. Where is the source, how is the medium, and why is the campaign. Build the link, capture the source, and improve the system. So your next steps for your own form to track your own things. Choose your naming rules. Remember, we're going to go with all lowercase. We're going to use underscores instead of spaces. We're going to create the UTM links for your page, not my ATMH page. You're going to add the hidden fields to a form. You're going to test it, and they're going to use the data to improve your efforts. All right, that's it for today. Let me get back over here to the very first slide and talk to you a minute. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, send me a message to andy@andytaughtmehow.com or leave a comment in the YouTube comments here. If you enjoyed this, if you learned from it, if you found it valuable, please make sure that you like this video. Finally, if you are thinking that you might want to find out more information like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, and click all. That's it for today. I hope you learned some things. I hope that you found this valuable. I'll talk to you later. Be blessed.